This meeting.
Got it.
Change too. Recording in process.
Oh yeah, was that a new one?
Yeah, it's shorter.
Okay.
These are weird.
I don't understand it.
Me neither.
All right.
All right, dude.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
And this is Analyzing the Programming, the 2014 CrossFit Regionals. And Bill, if we had a trend, Dave Castro planted his foot in the sand and said, pivot.
Hey, did you work really hard to get strong?
Yeah, we have it
Good,
all
because that
figured
doesn't
out.
matter.
We got it all figured out, guys. We cracked the Castro code. And Dave's like, So what is that? Ned?
No, you
What is that?
didn't.
What is that?
No, you didn't.
That character in Jurassic Park, Ned, or not Ned, the Newman character from Seinfeld. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The fat
Yeah.
techie. Magic word. You worked all that overtraining and volume of strength and barbells and whatever. And then Dave's like, ha! Gymnastics.
Yeah, take some of that. How's that squat? How's that Smoloff doing? Here's some handstand walks. Here's some handstand walks.
Smoloff. Gosh. Yeah, we should go through and just like the top 5 most detrimental strength training programs ever created.
Dude.
That was not made. Well, I'll say this. That was not designed for CrossFitters.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because guess what, man? Like you will get strong.
Yeah, if
you will get strong
and only squat, that's it. Nothing else in your life but revolve around squat. Yeah, go for a Smoloff.
Dude. I mean, it's aggressive, man. It's good. It definitely has its part. It's got its piece. Yeah.
So, but this is the Analyzing the Program episode of the 2014 Regionals. He's already done 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is year, what, 4? 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 5.
Fifth year.
Counting. Math.
Math thing.
But I'm excited to get into this. But hey, how was your weekend?
Dude, my weekend was good.
I saw some photos.
Good. Yeah.
So out there on the jet skis.
Oh man, I tell you what, I don't know if this is a thing. Like, I don't think that I have like a midlife crisis necessarily. I mean, I didn't go out and buy a Corvette or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But my world now is, okay, so it's very tiny home-ish, and I'm into that whole scene. So like I sold my condo, paid off all my debts, all that kind of stuff. When my oldest daughter went to school. She's in Oregon now, Oregon State.
She's in Oregon State?
Yeah, Oregon State. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, so she's that's where she's. This is her first year there. She's kind of bounced around a little bit, but that's where she is this. So she's doing her thing. My youngest daughter is 6, so she's little thing. 6. So I kind of jumped on like the Rory McKernan train, and I'm like, I want to save some money. Of course, I didn't know COVID was coming up, and I sold all my stuff and bought a travel trailer. It's a 31-foot Jayco. And I renovated the whole inside. And so that is now my house. So
looks nice.
Tiny house, which I love, man. Like for me and my daughter, when I have her, it's perfect. Like I realize that I don't need a lot of stuff, and I don't have to do like yard work. I don't have to do any like picking weeds or anything like that. It's just cool. It's just really cool.
Vast yards that reside in Southern California.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so anyway, I got my tiny home. And then when my dad passed away, one of the toys that he had, and my mom's like, get this thing out of my garage because I'm not going to use it, is their Wave Runner. And he took impeccable care of it. So like he was extremely OCD about taking care of things, which is cool. And this year was the exact same year that I got that we had when I was in the fire department, and we built the jet ski program, the surf boat rescue program.
Yeah. Okay.
So so I already had a lot of skills with that, and obviously my dad only ever took it in the lake. And when I brought it out here, my mom let me take it. I was like, oh yeah. So dude, I've taken the thing in the ocean so many times. So I've taken my youngest daughter out, my girlfriend out. It is so fun. So I'm like tiny home life, tiny house, tiny boat, tiny life. It's good.
It looks great, man. You look happy.
It's
I'm
so
happy.
fun. It's so fun. It's like a motorcycle out on the ocean.
Yeah, dude. Wave run. Oh, what have you seen? Have you seen Loki yet?
I haven't, but I want to. Is it good?
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
But Owen Wilson, his character he's like this time detective or whatever, and he's obsessed with the jet ski.
Oh man.
It's like modern innovation and functionality come together in one perfect symbiotic moment known as the jet ski. I was like, you know what? You're not wrong.
It's true, man.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
Yeah.
I love jet skis.
Dude, it's so fun. I will say this though, the videos that so Laura, my girlfriend, that she put together, I'm like, wow, that makes it look very like I'm just out there like, all right, here we go. And she puts it together and it's like pictures of birds and the cool waves breaking in the. I'm like, you make it look so serene.
Well, yeah, that's Laura's vibe though.
Dude, totally. No, absolutely. That's totally her thing. But it was just super fun. We have a blast, man. It's so fun on that thing. That thing is so fun.
Oh,
so fun. Yeah.
I think growing up, we went to the lake a lot. Growing up in Arizona, it's like that's what you did. You go to lakes.
Yeah, because it's hot.
Why your dad had a jet ski, right?
Hot.
And we do pontoon boats, ski boats, but when we got the jet skis out, it was I'm not going to come in until this thing runs out of gas.
No.
Like,
and all it is figure eights. That's all you're going to do is
I'm going to follow this boat so I can not hop its wake because I'm a pussy. But I'm going to get behind it like I'm going to. But man. I think as you get older and our family grows and we're like, okay, maybe we'll get some toys. And it's like, never buy a boat. Get a friend who has a boat, rent a boat. But I'm like, well, maybe we could get some jet skis, just a pair.
I tell you what, they're not
his and hers.
They're not that expensive. I mean, you can get some people take some really good care of their stuff. So I mean, you can get an older one that's like a decent price. But dude, I will tell you,
I feel like the maintenance is low.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Cost fix isn't that high.
The storage is easy.
Very simple machines.
Yeah. I will say this. If you haven't seen a jet ski really function, there's a series on, I think it's on HBO, called 100-Foot Wave.
Oh,
out of Portugal.
Of that, but
Nazare.
It looks insane.
Yeah, where they're towing guys into 60, 70, 80, 90-foot waves on a jet ski. And to watch how those guys operate, like I'm not even like me personally. The surfing is rad. It's amazing. It's ungodly. I can't even fathom it. But I'm watching the guys operate the skis.
Yeah,
and I don't know how they do it, man. It is unreal, but cool stuff. It's cool stuff.
It's cool. Well, if you're in a midlife crisis like Bill,
stop it.
And you want a little fountain of youth in your morning, let's talk about Bubs Naturals. Bubs Naturals, your morning MCT oil powder, your collagen protein, your apple cider vinegar gummies. They have a new fountain of youth formula drink as well. Just everything you need to kick the morning off right. It has now just become my morning routine, but something I actually look forward to. So when I have to coach the early morning class, I'm not as upset when I'm setting my coffee the night before, and then I come down to this nice aroma of freshly brewed coffee in my living room.
Yeah.
And I open the cupboard. We have cupboards still these days, right?
Cupboard.
A cupboard. Take out my tub of MCT oil powder, some collagen protein, and in the darkness, just make that smooth, creamy goodness. Do
you have like the oven light on? Just the stove light only?
It's basically if my
just
kitchen
enough
had a
light.
night light. Yeah.
Yep,
Just the one bulb. Sit there and quiet and just blending it up and then driving to the gym. It's just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And if you guys don't have your morning routine set, go to bubsnaturals.com. Use the code GETWIT20 for 20% off everything they have on the site. That goes for apparel, mugs, the hand mixer, MCT oil powder, collagen protein powder, gummies, apple cider vinegar, and the Fountain of Youth formula. Get on there, use the code, save yourself some money. Take that money you save, go to element26.co. Element26.co is the official accessory supplier of Get With The Programming. Thumb tape has been coming in handy. Like I said, I'm slowly getting back into some training. My hands are getting like worn in. My calluses are growing. And the unfortunate thing is I had a workout yesterday that had 100 toes to bar in it. and a couple people ripped. That happens. And what Element 26 just came out with is a new thing called Rip Repair. Rip Repair. So New Skin.
Yeah.
New Skin. That's old school CrossFit. Like, it was super glue, right? Super glue was like, I would say 2006 to 2009. And then 2010 to 2000 now was like New Skin. Rip Repair, 3 times stronger than New Skin. Less sting, more stay. So if you rip your hands and in 60 seconds, you put this Rip Repair on your callus in your rip, totally sealed, and then you're good to go the next day. It is unbelievable. So go to Element 26. If you got the grips and you forgot them and you rip, get their Rip Repair. Go to element26.co, use the code GETWITH15 for 15% off all U.S. orders. Again, take the money you save from Bubs, use it at Element 26, and then you save even more money. And then we have the Wattproof app, which I've been using. I'm going to start posting some videos of my fitnessing.
Yeah, I've been look at you.
Recording. Yeah, I'm going to post some videos, and I've been using the Wattproof app. So it's this nice full circle of support that we have going on.
And the Wattproof app, they have a lot of cool things going on too. So not only can you do the video recording like that, so you can post some cool stuff up online, make your Instagrams look amazing, make yourself look like an amazing athlete with all your cool videos. But they also have competition type things, community type stuff. So they're doing a thing right now with NoCo. And NoCo, if you don't know what that is, that's kind of the budding brewing no carb drink of the no carb company that they've teamed up with, and they're doing just like a community competition. So I think they have like 3 events that you can do. Get on there, join the Wattproof app, join the NoCo challenge, and then you compete with the other people that are on there, and they have prizes that are up there for everyone that's in that group. And if you really want to up your game, you can sign up for their Pro Pack, which is all access to all of the different programs that they have online. They have all kinds of templated programs for you to get better at whatever it is you might want to get better at. So if it's rowing, if it's lifting, if it's gymnastics, if it's just being better when you're older, whatever the case may be, they have all those programs on there for you. And if you go for just solo, I mean, I'm talking not any codes at all. It's only $9.99 a month. But if you're one of our cool people and you use our code GETWITH, then you get a 20% off the 3-month subscription of that. And then you just get to become part of the awesome group. Because I will tell you, if you use your Bubs to get yourself ready, if you tape up your thumbs and you grip your hands and you strap on your belt, and then you jump into these, community programs and training templates that are on there, you will become an all-around badass athlete. And that's what it's all about, man. Just get yourself better. And it does it.
Get better, use our discounts, do yourself a favor. You're going to get it. Look, you're going to buy it anyways.
You're going to do it anyways.
You're going to buy it anyways.
Get a discount.
You want that stuff in your coffee. You want the accessories to make yourself better and more versatile in CrossFit. You want an app to, you're going to have the video for the Open, which is coming up in February. And we're in the peak off-season online qualifier.
Oh, man, there's so many out right now.
You're going to get it anyways. You might as well get with the percentage discounts that we have for you guys. So thank you to our partners to the show as we get set for the 2014 CrossFit Regionals Analyzing the Programming Edition. And Bill, as we said at the top of the show, the last 2 years, high volume, heavy weights.
Heavy.
Lots of pulling from the floor.
Yeah.
A lot of pulling from the floor.
Especially the year before, yeah.
And this year, we do a lot of gymnastics. And as we go through, we have another 7-event regional, 3 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And we're going to go event by event and just analyze what went down in 2014. And 2014 was a year that'll stick out for you, sir.
Yeah. basically ended my youth competition career.
Yeah. We'll get to that event about midway through the weekend.
Exactly.
And as we turn our eyes to 2014, event number 1, we start right off the bat by hitting a lift. And it's a 1-rep max hang, squat, snatch. So you got to take the bar off the floor, from the hang position. Now, did it have to be above the knee? Was that the rule? Or
Yeah, you had to start above the knee. You had to start at a standing position, and then you can generate your power as long as the bar didn't go below your knee.
Okay. And so you had to start there, and you had 2 minutes. Oh, sorry, not 2 minute transition was after this. There was 3 attempts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so you had 2 minutes to load your bar for your first attempt, and then you had 4 minutes to work.
Oh yeah, there wasn't like athlete go. People were just working.
They're just going.
Yeah. 2 minutes to load your barbell and attempt the first lift. So you had, you only had 2 attempts. No, 3.
No, you had 3 attempts.
2 minutes, 2 minutes, and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You can only have 1 attempt within those 2 minute time frames. You couldn't just like lift a bunch of times in those 2 minutes.
Yep.
And I remember that kind of like what we had in the overhead squat, just a unique little rules and movement regulations to really throw a wrench in a lot of people's game plans.
Totally.
Like, okay, you only have 3 lifts, a lot like we see in traditional Olympic weightlifting, right? You only get 3. You don't get multiple attempts. So if you miss your first one and your second one, you have to hit the third one. And I believe you were not allowed to go down.
Let me look. I don't remember.
Yeah. Each athlete will begin empty barbell, stack of plates.
Yep. May not decrease the weight after a failed attempt.
Yes. So you better get the first one.
You got to get your first one.
And we saw that a lot. And a lot of times when you put a make or miss, make or break rule in there, it really throws some people off that can't handle pressure like that. And being such a, I would say, technical lift, like there's no room for error, especially just from the hang.
Yeah. And again, this was very, it's still relatively new from your warm-up time to your actual performance time. So yeah, you have 3 attempts. Yes, you're going to be able to build up to that, but when you're warming up and you're in the warm-up area and you're hitting some heavy lifts, and then all of a sudden you take 10, sometimes 15 minutes between that lift and the next time you go, and you're not in the mode, all of a sudden now you're not thinking lifting, you're corralled up with your group, you're walked out onto the floor, you're sitting out there, you're looking at the crowd, you're looking around, your focus switches. And so it was new to be able to try to pull yourself back in and really rally yourself for something heavy. I mean, to go heavy. We've done the movements before. We've done it before. But it's the weight that people are really being able to move. Like, we're getting some strong athletes now. It wasn't like 2009 where everyone was doing the snatch and was like, if you hit 185 pounds, you were a badass. You know what I mean? Man. So, and
now if you do that, you're not even the lady.
Geez, seriously. I know. God.
185 is pedestrian. Well, and you think too is if we go back to regionals, really when it got standardized, 2011 we had a thruster ladder.
Yeah.
2012 you had the snatch ladder. 2013 you had the 3-rep overhead squat, and now we have another snatch. So this is the 3rd year where we've had some type of overhead strength portion.
Oh yeah.
Whether it be a snatch over an overhead squat. Well,
and then you also got to put on top of that just the first event anxiety, jitters.
Oh, nerves.
It's like you would rather have something you can just go out and blast out real fast and kind of get yourself into the game. You get to start with a super technical, heavy, don't F it up lift event. Oh, and welcome to the regionals. Okay, let's see where you go. And you're like, that could mentally blow some people up. If they have a bad lift, then the rest of the competition, they're like, oh my, I'm screwed.
It's over. Yeah.
Done. So, I mean, there was a lot more than just a lift, but I think it's a really unique way to start it off. We're going strength. We're going technical. We're going to check your flexibility. We're going to check your mobility, your stability, your mentality, your physicality. Damn, all those words.
It was good. I think the hard part too is that since it wasn't like you lift, I lift, we lift line. There was also you had no idea.
Yeah. It's hard to game. It was hard to game it.
So
Yeah.
there was another element. It's like, okay, how heavy do I go? I don't know what anybody else has done, and I can't afford to get 15th in this event.
Yeah.
Like the way it is now, like a 15th place, because this is still points per place format.
Yep.
You can't afford one of those if you're trying to get to the CrossFit Games, right? There's more pressure at regionals than there is the CrossFit Games. And at regionals, it's like, I got to get in the top 3. Because there's nothing I want more in my life than to make the CrossFit Games for all these athletes, save for maybe a handful. At the CrossFit Games, like, well, I mean, I'm here.
I made it.
I made it. And then for a few people, it's trying to get on the podium. But that's really it. And so the pressure at regionals was a real thing. And only having 3 attempts, not knowing where everybody was.
Yeah.
The fear of bombing out.
Oh, man.
And then you go from like all the things that you just said that was the hang snatch as far as the technicals aspect. You rest 2 minutes, and then you go to a max distance handstand walk. This is the first time we've had handstand walks at regionals, which is kind of funny to say because now it's just like whatever. Now we're walking over like obstacles and staircases and ramps and whatever. But like here it was max distance, but the failure element was thrown out there.
Yeah.
Because it was 100, I think the course was 120 feet.
Right.
I believe.
Yep.
And you had 1 attempt to walk as far as you could. You had 3 minutes also. So there was a time cap. But if you got to the other end, you could come down and then kick back up. But if you walked and you fell in the first 10 feet, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Not how far can you get in 3 minutes. That's way easier. As soon as you kick up, you are set, and there's no safety net. So I think this was probably the most high-pressured, stressful start to regionals ever.
The first 2 events, man, both of them are not. It's not who is the fittest athlete. It's who can handle the pressure. Like, yeah. I mean, you can be good at handstand walks, but it's very easy to lose your balance. And if you don't think you're going to walk very far, you're not walking very far.
Yep.
Like there's so much self-confidence needed in both of these events to start. I mean, to come right out of the gate. There is so much more than what with those 2 events, which seem very simple. But on the mental aspect of this competition, it starts off in a completely different vein.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Because these are elements you should test, right?
Yeah.
Strength, high skill gymnastics, isolated. We saw that last year. We did the overhead squat and the burpee ring muscle ups. This is not unfamiliar testing.
Right.
But the way that these are structured, where there is, if you have one little mistake, your weekend could be over.
Well, yeah, we took the women's champ. She didn't go back.
Right.
I mean, this was a big contention. How could you not let her come back because of this one event?
Right. Because of a
handstand. I mean, and it's funny because we've seen that argument, different iterations of it, but that particular argument so many different times in the CrossFit competition career. Totally. I mean, how can you say that this person shouldn't go because of this event? How can this one thing keep this person out? And this kept Sam out. And then it got into the whole, okay, well, they're going to do the wild card. Is CrossFit going to invite her anyway? Are they going to let anyone come back? Is that even a legal thing to do that? Did the right people go to the games because of this event, or did the wrong people go to the games because of this event? There was a lot of hype.
We had it, Brooke Wells and stepping on a line at the CrossFit Games in 2019, and she didn't. She got cut because of that, right? And this argument has been happening the entire time. A question for you is, how do you like the first 2 events and the rules that they had with them?
I liked that CrossFit was trying to get. They stepped up we're going to be very professional, and they laid out rules, which is they didn't do that a lot before. They kind of would, but I don't think that they really And I think they didn't pull their head back far enough to see, okay, like how much wiggle room is going to be in there. So they needed to come up with some very specific rules. And I actually like it. I mean, the more in the box you can make it, the less variables are moved out. Sure. And then the more fair the race is. Yeah. So now you've made your game, your competition floor much more consistent across the board and across all the athletes that are going to be competing with that.
I see that.
So, yeah.
I liked the hang squat snatch 1 rep every 2 minutes. I like that. If you don't get it, then you're done.
Yeah.
Fine with that. That's part of it. I think the handstand walk standard is like if you came down, then you were over. I think they could have done without that one and just let people walk for 3 minutes as far as they could.
Yeah, but
with that.
But the first time they put handstand walking in the games, it was just like this. They did it out on the field.
You're right, 2011.
So I mean, it was a remnant of that.
Did they have any in 2012? Any handstand walks?
The
games? 2012. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I can't remember them having a handstand walk event at the CrossFit Games. Okay, well let me backtrack that because you make a great point. The only handstand walk experience we have in CrossFit competition was a 1 attempt for max distance until you came down.
Yeah.
So this was something that we have experience with.
Totally.
All right, I take it back.
And
I did not like it. It would have been more. Well, I don't know.
Well, it's hard because it's like if you don't say that, then you get the Matt Fraser versus Justin Medeiros handstand race.
And it made it more kind of fun to watch as a spectator. You're like, are they going to fall?
Well, I mean, the strategies are different. But I think that between the two, it was not just can you do the activity, but can you mentally handle the pressure with that activity?
Okay.
Look, maybe that wasn't even part of it. Who knows? But it seems to me that that's the way it's lining up.
Well, you did it, right? How was it for you?
It was pressure. It was, oh my God, I got to make these weights. I hope that it's good enough to be able to hang in there. Shoot, it wasn't good enough, or it was good for me, but I know that what that is compared to the rest of the field. Now I have to handstand walk. I'm okay, but I don't want to like get totally last. So there were athletes that would lift big and walk short. And they're like, shit.
Kind of the point, right? You got to have both.
And you got to be able to have both. And there was the element, and I remember the discussion started really happening 2013, 2014, 2015 was, why are they putting these events in there? And it's like, go back to CrossFit.com and see what they're programming. And there was that particular year, there was a lot of handstand walks that was in the program. I remember having to go back and look at that when we were talking about this in the games, some of the other analyzing that we did for commentary. And handstand walking was in there a bunch. So it's like, hey, all of you guys that are doing all of these other programming, not doing CrossFit programming,
right?
You're missing the CrossFit competition part. Like it's in there. It's in there. So it was,
you're right.
It was there. You got to keep your eye on the .com. You got it.
You 100%.
Got to keep your eye on it.
Yeah. Maybe not between the year 2019 and 2020. Someone else was in charge of that. And it was awful. But
they're not going to have milk. They're not going to have milk jugs that you have to lift.
They're no longer a part of the company, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. You know what? Yeah, I take it back.
There you go.
Now that I look at it, because I was doing team this year. Was I doing team? Yeah, I was doing team this year, and it was fun to watch. But we had the same constraints on team. It was the same events.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay, so we've tested a max technical lift. We've tested a high skill gymnastic, and then almost an inverse of what we saw in 2013, where it started with a classic triplet. Now we have Nasty Girls version 2, 3 rounds, 50 pistols alternating, 7 muscle ups, 10 hang power cleans, 175 and 115. Interesting weight choices here. Now, Nasty Girls originally is 50 air squats, 7 muscle ups, and 10 hang power cleans at 135 and 95. In fact, we just did that recently at the gym. This version, I know they tried to like make it 2.0, but they only 2.0'd like one of the 3 movements. And they basically like they 5.0'd one of the moves. They were like, all right, air squats, pistols. I'm like, so are we going to do less? Absolutely not.
Nope.
We'll do 150 of them.
Right.
It's like, okay, 2012, we're doing 50 pistols. 2013, 100 pistols. 2014, 150 pistols. I'm like, I do not like this trend. Or like year 2021, 2,000 pistols per time.
Totally.
And the ring muscle ups, they kept it at 7. And then the hang power cleans, 175 and 115 were the weights. This was almost a cool concept, but the muscle ups and the hang power cleans were even more irrelevant than they were in regular Nasty Girls. This was straight pistols. If you had pistols,
totally,
you win.
Yeah. And depending on the judge that you had.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Dude, I got hammered on this one. I had Connor Martin was my judge.
Oh, don't throw him under the bus.
No. I don't. No, I'm not throwing him under the bus. I mean, he was on me as a judge. He was on me as a judge. I mean, so here's how, and I'm good with pistols. I got great range of motion. I can do all that. And so he nailed me right out of the gate with like no rep. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like really trying to think and like, all right, am I not standing up? You know, got to make sure you stand. One of the things was you had to stand all the way up before your other foot came down.
Oh, okay.
So there was like, I mean, depending how, and if you're racing, you know, you that line can get blurred.
Like speed walking.
Yes. So I'm watching that, yet I'm looking at some of the other guys on either side of me that are not doing that. Like they're not going down all the way. They're not coming up all the way. And they're like rapid fire. And I'm like
Russian dancers that the one leg squat hop thing.
Man, I mean, one of the guys was one of my own athletes. And I'm like next to him and he's like, I'm like, you can't go down at all. You're not going down at all. And now you're 10 reps ahead of me. Well, shit.
Right. And
I was like, well, okay, Connor, here we go, man. It's just me and you now. But you're right. This was 100% pistols. And I'm surprised that they didn't. I mean, I guess athletically, I'm glad that they didn't up the muscle ups, but you would have thought that they would have upped the muscle up number to make that count, to make it count.
Right.
Because now, I mean, athletes can get in there and do 7 unbroken every single time. Like there wasn't an issue there.
No.
Whereas before, when original Nasty Girls was set up, I mean, granted, we weren't kipping and stuff back in that time. So you're basically doing like strict. So you were breaking those muscle ups up, and it became, do you have those? That became an issue.
Failed muscle ups.
Oh man, this whole thing, even like the hang power cleans, like okay, you know, you up the weight, but you can, I mean, you can wing that thing around. Like you don't have to be. For these athletes, that was not heavy.
No,
it was all pistols.
10 reps.
It was all pistols.
All pistols.
Yeah.
How would you How would you version 2 this to make it even? What would you do?
If you kept the pistols, keep that. I would say, and we tried this, I believe the next year, trying to go from regular muscle ups to strict muscle ups.
Oh.
Which is a very hard way to do it. But if you could do it, if you could figure out a standard that would fit, then I would say that you make them strict. If you're trying to keep the numbers the same, and then the hang power cleans, I mean, we've already done hang power cleans at 225. You know, like if you want to make it heavy, go. I mean, that's it right there.
Was it 30 or 20?
That was 30. So, I mean, we've done that. So why not do that? In fact, that was pistols and hang power cleans. That was rowing, pistols, and hang power cleans.
That's right.
So,
I'll up right here. 30. You had a 2K row, 50 pistols, and 30 hang power cleans at 225. and 135, which that needs to be 155.
I mean, if you wanted, depending on what you're trying to get, like, do you want it to be kind of a slugfest, or do you want it to be like where they're speeding through it? Like, what are you trying to get?
Here's the thing: some people had no problem.
Think they don't. Yeah, totally.
No problem.
Yeah,
but they killed the workout.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there's nothing else. There's nothing else version 2 in this. The muscle ups are unchanged. No. So there's one problem, right? I think I would do I would keep the pistols because there were people that had the capacity to do that, no problem.
Yeah, totally.
Even though it's a lot. But I would have at least bumped the muscle ups to 10, at the least.
Well, that's what I was saying.
I would almost say, and I wouldn't say strict because I did not like the way strict.
No, I'm just saying if you're trying to hold the numbers is what I was saying. If you're trying to hold the numbers, no, like then okay.
How would you revamp?
Oh, no, yeah. Then I would. Then I would. Like, really? Like, I'd go 50. I'd go 50, 10, and if you want to keep the weight on the power cleans, then that has to at least be 15. At least. Otherwise, keep the numbers, and I'd go. I like the 10 muscle ups because that's 30, and then we already did 30 on the hang power clean, so it should be 50, 10, 10 hang power cleans at 225.
Yes. What if
that actually sounds really fun?
Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll build off what we've been doing for the last couple of years because there is some thread as the years go on. So I would say 50 alternating pistols, 10 burpee muscle ups, 10 hang power cleans at 225 and 155. You take your weight that you had in 2012, you take your skill movement that you had in 2013, and now you have a version 2 of Nasty Girls. That's what I would do.
If you were going to make it burpee muscle ups, then I would just...
Oh, but we have burpees after. Then I would just say...
Just make it 10 muscle ups.
It's still not that many.
12 muscle ups.
I like 12.
Go 12. Yeah. 50, 12, and 10. 225. 155.
Yeah. Yeah. 50, 12, 10 at 225 and 155.
Yeah.
That's version 2.
And it's, I will say, it's hard.
It's no change.
No.
And this is really easy to say 8 years later.
No, totally. I mean, right? Totally. And we have seen version 2 stuff in other events and other CrossFit games, and
what was
not I mean, even
or Nancy. What's the overhead squat one? The Nicole. Yes, Nicole. It's got to be Nicole.
Yeah.
The overhead squats.
We've done that a lot of times, and the problem is that it doesn't say, like, when you're doing version 2, is it supposed to look like it, have the same movements of it only? Is it supposed to just be heavier? Is it supposed to be faster? Is it supposed to be longer? It's like, I think that when you say version 2, that there are some expectations on it. And I mean, I don't know if we necessarily need to put that expectation on there, but this version 2, like, I don't know if I would have called it. I would have given it another name, like other nasties or some, not a version 2, because it's not really a version 2.
Name aside, this is still way too weighted on pistols.
100%. No, totally. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think to make a balanced triplet after coming off an isolated squat and isolated strength and an isolated gymnastics, if you want something that's classic CrossFit, but like regional beefed up, you still need, like, this is a miss.
I agree.
Fun little workout, and we had some great races throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
But it's 150 pistols for time. That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. But we have our high volume, high skill squatting gymnastics. You have ring muscle ups, which is a high skill pulling and pushing gymnastic. And then you have your hang power cleans, which is just a different barbell movement. 175 and 115. I want to touch on those weights before we get to event number 4. because 175 and 115 really is, I mean, they're kind of close. There's still a little off. 165 and 115.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, they're weird. They're weird numbers.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay. So event 3, that was event 3. We moved to event number 4, and then we have this guy. You know, I still have yet to do this one.
I love this workout. It's brutal, but I really do like it. I like it.
21, 15, 9, 6, 3 of strict handstand push-ups, front squats at 195 and 125, and then bar facing burpees.
Oh man.
And this one, it's hot. It's not high volume based off the programming and analysis that the level 2 dishes out. But for the difficulty of the reps, like every rep you had to work for. A strict handstand push-up requires a lot of effort. A front squat at that weight requires a lot of effort. And then bar facing burpees require time. Like these were high, what do you say, calorically dense movements. Right? They were very difficult. So this is, I think, is a very high volume, challenging event. But this is good. This is a good triplet.
It's so good. It was unreal to me, the number of athletes that failed out on strict handstand push-ups. And I don't mean couldn't get one. Like they got hung up, stuck, done. I mean, Matt Chan. I saw that dude end up on his head so many times, could not push off his head and just crumble to the ground over and over. Dude, these guys are beasts. Beasts.
And handstand push-up beasts.
Yes. So that's what was so interesting. The front squats, the volume was high enough and the weight was heavy enough that it, like, you use those big muscles to just draw all of the oxygen out of your blood. And then you're doing your burpees, and you're doing your burpees fast.
Yep.
You know, or like you're trying to, you're thinking, okay, don't go too fast because I know I got to go to the handstand push-ups right after this. But you're trying to kind of recover yourself, but you've bled so much of your oxygen out of your body. And then you get to the handstand push-ups, which you just did pushing. Your arms were held in that weird position for the front squats. Your big muscles were using all the oxygen. Then you get to the wall and you have to push using just your shoulders only. Not a big muscle. I mean, granted, unless you're like Nick Uranka or something like that that's got these bowling balls on his next to his head. But I mean, still, generally speaking, that compared to all the other muscles, they're smaller muscles, and you don't have the oxygen in there to keep those things going, and they just gassed out. It was amazing. Amazing. The person who was super fun to watch doing this was Josh Bridges.
Oh, yeah.
So fast. I mean, he's good at handstand push-ups. We've seen him like in the push-pull and stuff like that. I mean, he's super fast at it. He's great at burpees. He's got a great work capacity, and the weight was, I mean, he's strong. You wouldn't think of him as like a strength athlete, but the guy, his big thing has always been, I'll take 80% and I'll rep it out all day long.
Yeah.
And he did. Like, I don't remember him breaking any of those sets of front squats. And that was kind of one of the things, if you were going to have one of the better times, you had to
over body weight.
You had to do that. You had to go unbroken in those.
Yeah.
Which hurt really bad.
Right.
I really like, this is one of my all-time favorite events in regionals.
It is. And I think it's funny. I've never done it because, well, handstand strict, it wasn't really my game. I'm terrible at front squats.
Really?
Yeah. No, I can't front squat, bro. Huh. I have no upper thoracic strength and stability. It's why I can't deadlift. I can't front squat, and cleans are like the worst of both.
Crazy.
But I'll overhead squat and snatch all day. And you're right. This was a great triplet. And, you know, it's two gymnastic movements. It's a lot of upper body endurance, strength, and stability.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the test, right? And it's not like one-sided into that, but like you had to have all your bases and boxes checked here.
Yeah.
The volume of handstand push-ups, 54 strict. We had what is the? We had 45 kipping in 2012. Did we have any handstand push-ups? Oh, yeah, we had 50 kipping.
Yeah.
50 kipping. So we had 45 kipping, 50 kipping, 54 strict. Boom. Right? And we're like, oh, no.
Dude.
54. And then you're right. The front rack position, just sitting there with that weight and squatting and your core, that's going to take away from your strict handstand push-ups. The burpees over the bar, the pressing up the floor, the bending at the midline, that's going to take away from your handstand push-ups and your front squats.
Ugh.
It was, I mean, you're right. This was good. I'd be curious to see this one in event 6. How people placed in those two respectively, and then how they placed overall on the leaderboard at the end of the weekend. We'll get to event 6 in a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always like an event where it's not exact, but it's very close to almost predicting who's going to be there at the end of the weekend. And you know what I think is, oddly enough, that Jackie was one of those back in 2013. So I read. So? Yeah, well, not I think so. I think there was like I think Brian had talked about it, Brian Friend. Jackie was like a really weird like predictor of what the leaderboard would look like at the end of the weekend. Okay, so we have high volume, strict gymnastics, high volume, moderate to heavy front squats, 195 and 125. Bar facing burpees, which is a gymnastics movement, but the way you can cycle burpees, it's almost considered like a monostructural like gymnastic movement, kind of like double unders are considered a cyclical monostructural movement. 195 and 125. So you added 20 pounds on the men from the previous event. You added 10 for the women. So I see where their numbers are coming from. Yet it's been 185 and 125 for the last few years, and now we added weight and didn't add weight. So there's, we're still figuring that out. But you're right. This is just a good workout.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. I really did like this. Funny how we look at the two different between event 3 and event 4. But, all right, so that is just about the halfway point of the weekend. This is the first event on Saturday. Before we get to the second half of Saturday, Bill, we have a Programmatron of the week.
Programmatron!
And this guy, Ben Vandepole. That's right. Where would you guess that he's from? A Vandepole.
Chicago?
Yeah, clearly. Upper West Side. No, Ben is from, oh gosh, I don't want to say the city. Zoutmeer? Nah, that is so wrong. Holland. We'll just say that. And he's a big boy. Dude's 39, so we're about the same age. Got Julianne is 12 and Elise is 10, so 2 kiddos. He's 6'6", 240.
Dang.
That sounds like a pretty like Holland. That's like your average Holland style male, right? Those guys are huge.
Wow, that's big.
That's some just good breeding right there. I've been doing CrossFit for 7 years. Before CrossFit, I was running for 3 years, half marathons, but a bad foot injury kept me from training, which I think, at that size.
All right, Clydesdale.
Yeah. Friends say go to CrossFit, but I told them those bare-chested guys, that's not for me. Finally, I went to my first WOD, and it was Angie, not the workout you would want as a big boy. I was surprised he stuck around. Finished dead last, but everyone was cheering me on. When I was done, I thanked everyone, got in my car, turned the corner, and then stopped the puke. And, of course, went back the next day. Since then, I have been a coach for 6 years, have had an affiliate since December of 2020.
Oh, dang.
Hey.
Wow.
And then I train and coach now at CrossFit 2712, where he first started. So he had his affiliate up until 2020 in December, and then went back to his roots at CrossFit 2712. But Ben, thanks for being a Patreon of the show. If you guys want a free month of programming, we select you every single week. If you guys go to patreon.com/get with the programming, you get exclusive content, audio. We're meeting with our shirt guy this week. So some merchandise is coming down the works, but you guys get in the running for a weekly drawing for a full month of programming from Bill and I, as well as a free workout of the week. We also provide daily programming for our Programmatron Plus course, and right now Bill is running that show as we post those workouts every single day. No rest days. No rest days. Workout a day.
That's right.
Just to fit your busy schedule. So we already have almost 60, 70 plus workouts already loaded on our Patreon page. So if you guys want to up your membership from 6 to 20 for $20 a month, you get everything that we currently offer for you as a Patreon of the show, as well as daily programming from Bill and I. So Ben, thank you for being a Programmatron. We appreciate the support, man, and good luck with everything in the future. He says he loves wall balls and rowing.
No
Shocker.
way. No way. Really?
Who knew? Who knew? But thanks, Ben, and we appreciate you supporting the show. All right, Bill. We have come to event number 5.
Wait, was there an event number 5? I don't remember that one.
Number 5.
Are you sure?
Event number 5.
Maybe I have amnesia on that. I have amnesia.
A little triplet. 10 rounds, 1 legless rope climb, 15 feet, and a 200-foot sprint. Really, it got longer because you moved a chest piece, but we'll just say 200 on average, so down and back of the competition floor. And just all go red, just right to the edge of your red line, and a movement that we have not done at the regional level, being legless. We had legless at the games prior to this, and it was the same volume. It was 10 total because it was a 4-3-2-1. And so this was one of those movements that made its way from the tennis stadium floor to the regional level floor. But it was this thing, like the handstand walk, wrecked people's weekends left and right.
Wrecked people.
Is it more personal to you?
Yes, accidents do happen. Going to the event itself, what I thought was interesting, and this really showcases it this weekend, is we get these gymnastic movements that you have a high fail potential. And I don't mean failing like something catastrophic is going to happen. I mean, it can, obviously, but fail in the fact that like you can only go so far, and then once you hit your threshold, like it's done. It all stops, and you have no choice other than just to sit there and stare at either the wall or the floor, or in this case, the rope. And I mean, I really think for how simple it is on paper, it was super fun to watch, super fun to do, and super calculating to do, because you had to balance how hard am I going to push and how fast do I get up that rope? How hard? I mean, like, this is where like Easy Muhammad, I mean, where he kind of came out of the gate, where he's taking these massive jumps into the air up onto the rope and barely pulling the rope at all to get up to the top. I mean, super fast. The downside of this was they didn't really have how you needed to come down. It was just your feet had to not touch the rope on the way up before you touch the beam, then whatever on the way down. So I remember there was a large group of us in the back, and the way you warmed up for this was trying to figure out how to either speed rope or free fall. I mean, they just basically said, come down at your own discretion.
They had Dollar mats.
Totally.
But that's like 2-3 inches of padding.
Yeah.
But it's not like a crash pad.
No.
That people used as a crash pad.
I mean, people were airdropping from 15 feet.
Yeah.
They were airdropping from 15 feet. Yeah, this is the one I blew my knee out on.
So what round were you on?
I think it was 3 to 4. I just got done with the third one. I think it was just got done with the third one.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back, and I'm like, okay, I feel pretty good. Let's pick up the tempo. So I'm coming down off the rope, and I would say I didn't feel like I was airdropping. I felt like my hands were still on the rope. In my mind, I was still speed roping down. But what happened is that Dollar mat, when my feet so on the way down, what I would kind of do is I would pinch the rope with my thighs a little bit.
Mhm.
So my knees are in, my feet are out, if you can kind of picture that.
Yes.
So then when I landed and I went to go turn to run, my foot got stuck in the mat. So my foot didn't pivot. So my foot stayed right where it was. And so my body turned and my knee just went, and I just boom. I just dropped straight to the ground. I was like,
make the sound.
oh man. Well, and it was really weird because it was so loud, but I could feel that right through my body. I was like, ooh. And I was thinking, my initial thought was, oh man, my knee popped out. That was weird. Let me just get up. I'll shake back in and it'll pop back into place.
Oh, stop.
I stood up and I shook my leg and went to step and went whoop, and just dropped right to the ground again. And I was like, oh no. Dude, what the heck is that? And I'm trying to, I was so shocked. I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I'm like,
did it hurt?
Not really. I mean, the adrenaline was pumping, so it didn't hurt. It was more just shocking. And then,
like what the hell was that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell what happened other than the fact that like my leg is not doing what I need it to do right now. So then I'm like, I'm trying to hold it. I'm like, okay, why? It feels like it's out. Why is it out? It shouldn't be out. I didn't do anything. So I kind of get back up again, and then the medical people are coming over, and they're like, "Do you need medical attention?" And I'm kind of pushing them out of the way, and I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I can't tell what's happening yet, and so I'm still trying to assess what's happening, and I'm getting to where I'm up on my feet, and I'm doing this like heavy duty shuffle, limping kind of thing, and I'm like, okay. All right, I can kind of do that. And all right, let me kind of get a little gait going here. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I can kind of get a run going here. Maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe it just twisted and came back in, whatever. I went to the chest piece to set it and turn. And when I did that turn, it was the same thing. And all of a sudden, I felt it give out. I'm like, whoa, shit. And it was like, okay, that's the gig. And I'm like, well, do I stop? I'm like, man, I got there's lots of time left. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep on going. So I just did this weird limp thing.
Dang, dude.
Limp through the whole deal. I couldn't jump on the rope anymore. Couldn't jump up. Yeah. I had to do it from standing. So like it was a couple extra pulls on everyone because I couldn't leap up and I couldn't come down and land. I had to like lower myself and plant myself, kind of shimmy my body around and then, do my little hop, skip and jump thing. But yeah. Finished it with, and then so the doctors came out. It was so funny. Doc Ira, he comes out and he grabs my leg. The way they check your ACL is they have you sit down. You kind of bend your knee up. Yeah. And they grab your shin, and they try to push back and forth on your shin to see if your knee moves. And he just goes slunk, 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 slunk. He just starts laughing. He's like, "Yeah, that's gone." And I'm like, shit.
Dang, dude, like. Where's your bedside manner? And you're done.
So that was it. Yeah. So that was my last event on the regional floor, basically in the open division category. Because that put me out. That put me out that year.
No, it's weird. Now I got to finish my weekend.
Yeah.
But my event 5, the deadlift box jump workout, is the one that wrecked me. Like I hurt myself pretty good.
Yeah.
Wrecked me. I got last in the last 2 events, but my event 5.
Damn, event 5
was the last one.
Curse you, event 5.
For me too.
Yeah.
Dang, just the year prior.
So it's really funny because I have a story about event 6. So here I am, event 5, and I wasn't doing it to try to be like, try to be a cool guy. I just wanted to finish. As an athlete, as a competitor, you just want to finish.
Right.
It was really cool. I mean, the crowd was awesome. They're cheering me on as I'm finishing. Kiki was yelling it out. Got everyone rallied behind me. Thank God I was not like the last person to where it was. In fact, I was able to go, like when I finished, there were still athletes, and this is what I talked about, like the epic fail, that like they went so fast in the beginning.
Yeah.
Or did too many warm-up reps in the back.
Oh,
that they were smoked by the time they got out here, to where like they weren't finishing. Yeah, they weren't finishing. So I was able to come over and help coach some guys that still had to finish as the broken old guy. So
You can do this. You have 2 functioning hands. If I can do it.
But yeah, and even with all that, I really liked the event. I thought it was a very cool programmed event. It did. Yeah. There was a line, and if you were able to stay on one side of the line, you did well. And if you didn't, like, there were epic fails. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We isolated a gymnastics test in event number 2.
Yeah.
This is an isolated gymnastics test in event 5, regardless of the runs, right?
No,
that
totally
relevant, right? But there's still 2 different gymnastics tests. Right? The handstand walk was skill, not strength, some stability, but it was more skill based.
Totally.
The legless was very strength and endurance based.
Oh man, if you didn't have the capacity,
yeah, like some people just didn't have the strength to do it.
Yeah,
and so some people will look at this and say, "Oh, there's 2." What's funny is that they'll look at this like, "Oh, there's 2 gymnastics tests.
It's just gymnastics. It's all gymnastics."
Like, but if there's 2 weightlifting tests, nobody would say shit except me.
Right? This is a dumb weightlifting competition. I thought we were doing CrossFit.
And I find it so hypocritical, funny at the very least, is that nobody complains when they just like isolate a barbell movement. Nobody.
Nah.
They're like, oh, this is great, especially in the open. Don't get me started on that. But like, if you isolate a gymnastic one, people lose their mind. Or a monostructural one, people lose their mind. Like if this was just a 5K row, like, what is this? This is such crap. Like, you didn't say shit in event number 1. It's the same thing, right?
Right.
And so it's just really funny how people, their bias are a full display when they're actually like complaining to make a point, and you're like, no, you're not listening to yourself talk when you say these things. And yeah, we have 2 gymnastic tests, but they're 2 different tests completely, right? So it's not all the same, right? And just like we see a max lift, but like a heavy deadlift. Yeah, it was a really heavy event, but it wasn't the same thing, right? So we've seen that in years past. So just throwing that out there. Yeah. Interesting about this one, how many superstar athletes in the sport were basically forged from failed rope climbs? Think about that.
Oh, you're talking like Katrin?
Katrin. So this is the one that kept Katrin out.
Yeah.
Rich Froning.
Oh, yeah. Okay, from the first time. Yeah. Totally.
Now, it was the pig that messed him up, but he failed out on rope climbs, and that ended his, basically, that was the decline of Fraser in 2015. No, 2015.
Yeah.
It's 3 of our best athletes in the sport that were basically like created from massive, full displayed failure from a rope climb. I find that interesting.
It is, because there were some other athletes that made this look so damn easy.
Elijah
Muhammad, Samantha Briggs, Tina Cho.
Yeah, but like easy. Like this was
Danny Siddell. Remember Danny Siddell on this one?
Then I remember a post.
You remember what? Well, this is so funny.
CrossFit. Like, finally, what are you talking about?
Finally, we get a CrossFit event.
CrossFit event. I was like, we just did 2 triplets that had like every component you could possibly put.
Oh man.
But I like the test. I like what you said about failure. Right, you have to go right to that line. Yep. You have to. There's no choice, right? I feel like Friday morning was high pressure, high stakes stress. Saturday was ultimate to the line failure stress, because in push-ups,
in
like the legless rope climbs,
that realm, that area that you have between making it or not making it is so small. Mm-hmm. So small. I mean, like with the handstand push-ups, if you did one more handstand push-up attempt than you should have, then the rest of your event is done, because you are now playing recovery. You're now playing. Now you have to wait to recover for the one that you just missed to be able to get on there. Now your head, like, it's done. If you fail on either of these 2 events on one movement,
done.
You are screwed.
Yeah.
Like you're not in the race anymore. You're racing you're racing just to hold on. Yeah, you're right. High stakes failure. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was neat. All right. So that concludes Saturday. So we are 5 events in, then we come to Sunday. And here's what we start things off is a massive chipper. And I believe this year, very few, as we've seen in years past, people finished this event.
Yeah.
I think one of the only ones like Brent Fakowski.
Wow.
And it was brilliant. You're right.
Yeah.
50 cal row, 50 box jump overs at 24 and 18. And that's when they use those like big soft rogue block boxes.
Yeah.
50 deadlifts at 180 and 120. 50 wall ball shots, 20 and 14 to the same target. 50 ring dips, 50 wall ball shots, 50 deadlifts, 50 box jump overs, 50 cal row with a very tight time cap of 21 minutes. And I think it was maybe a handful of people finished this around the world.
Yeah.
The one thing that was cool is that we've never seen since, what was it? We saw this in 2012, ring dips.
Yeah.
When we had the Power Clean Elizabeth version. We had the 3-girl finale. And I feel like everybody saw, like Dave saw that and go, okay, well, we're going to have to create a standard for the ring dips because that's really what we're looking for. And what they did, and to their credit, right? Because like, okay, how do you judge a ring dip? You can do it, but it's hard. And at the pace people were going in 2012, it was damn near impossible. You're like, look, just count. What are we going to do? They're going too fast, right? They're doing Elizabeth, which is usually like a 6 to 7 minute workout in 2.5 minutes, right? But you put this in the middle, and then they measured everybody prior to the weekend, right? Was it the morning of or like at check-in? Or like the night before?
I think they did the night before. Yeah.
What was the standard at which they used, and how did they measure it for you?
So I didn't get to do it. I saw them do it because I was getting my knee worked on. But what they would do is they'd have you lock out on the rings. So your arms are totally up, and they would set up a strap across your back. So they would look at where your scapula were, and then they would basically attach that up. So they would have the distance. They would mark down what that distance was. So when you came out to your lane, they would attach that strap to the back of the strap. So you would be doing your dips, and you had to get. So what the judge now was looking for was, did your back hit the strap? So that's how they're ensuring that the arms are getting locked out, and then you're all the way down. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You know,
I liked it a lot.
It's a great standard. It makes it easy for the judge.
Yes.
Sure, it takes a little bit of time to get it set up, but not much. I mean, like they knew where they needed to go, and they just Velcroed those things on there, and boom, done. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was great.
I did too. I thought that was ring dips. Again, we haven't had those at regionals. We had it at the games, and now it's made its way into regionals. And it was a good standard because, like, okay, how are we going to judge this? How is lockout? And they learned and they added, and I thought that was really cool. I really like what they did. And look, this is just it's a hundreds chipper, but split into 50s, right? Because it was 100 total cal row, 100 box jump overs, 100 deadlifts, 100 wall balls, and then those 50 ring dips in the middle. And those ring dips threw people for a loop. But when they came back for the second round of wall balls, I feel like people were really thrown off after that.
Oh, totally. It was really interesting watching how people decided to break the ring dips up. I mean, I think all the athletes that were there knew they could do a big chunk if they had to go, they could blast out 20.
Right.
But was that the right call to do? I mean, we saw there was a handful of athletes, and I'm blanking on one of the names. I think it was in the oh man.
I know Stacy Tovar did singles.
Right. That's what I mean. And he was the guy that I'm thinking of was in her division, in her region.
Oh,
and he broke up sets. It was like sets of 5. Sets of 5. And that was on the guy's side. You're thinking, like, it was interesting to see that because most people wouldn't do that. And he also did the same thing on the wall balls going into I think he only did like sets of
that's
5 or
right.
sets of 10 on the. I want to say his last name was Fry. I can't remember. Ah, it's killing me. Anyway, sorry if I forgot your name, but you crushed it, and it was amazing watching how he broke it up way early, and that was, I think, the beginning of how to pace events like this. Like we saw earlier with Rich Froning when he was doing in the hundreds, how he would break it up.
Yeah.
Which made people go, oh, I can do that with other things.
Right.
And I could do it with wall balls. And I can do, I mean, it's only 50 wall balls with a 20-pound. Like I can do Karen all day long.
Yeah.
But do you need to do Karen in this event?
Right.
Like do 10 reps, drop it for a count of 5, pick it up, you're going. Drop it for a count of, like, then that red line, you're never at that red line and you can just keep on going. Yeah. And just like every one of these long chipper style events, it's the second half of the race where the winner comes out. You don't get any extra points for winning the first 2 movements. Nothing.
No.
Nothing. And yet people will try to do that. It's crazy.
Right. And I think I mean, this literally revolved around the ring dips because the ring dips is the centerpiece of this, but it did all centered around that because, like you said, it's like, yeah, you could rip off 20, but you still have 30 more to go.
Yeah.
Keep in mind is the wall balls are going to take away from your ring dips.
Totally. Any pushing that.
The wall ball really is a push overhead. And even the receiving of the ball messes with your shoulder. It's really, and it's funny is that the muscle group you use for a wall ball is actually the same you use for the dip. It'd be different if it was like handstand push-ups or some type of like burpee, but
well, and you couldn't even make it. I mean, it's a light wall ball, so you couldn't even. You can't go, oh well, I'll use more of my hips and legs on this one because you just did 50 calorie row, 50 box jump overs, and 50 deadlifts. So your whole lower half has been blown. So now you're forced to have to use your shoulders more. So you're going to stand up and then you're going to be pushing the ball. So great, go ahead and push that. And then you're going to push the ring dips. Oh, and then you got to come back and push to the ball again, which now you've blown out your arms. So now you're just a big old floppy mess trying to get your way, get yourself back through that.
It's like, oh, why would you break up wall balls to 5s and 10s? Because I think Fakowski did this. You're like, because the ring dips. Everyone's trying to get to the ring dips as fast as they can because that's going to take the longest. You're like, no, that's not how you do it. You want to get there as easy and as quickly as you can with as least effort as possible.
Yep.
Navigate your way through that, and then you start grinding.
Yeah.
And so that was this was good. You got the like leg drive pull with the row, then you have the extension jump with the box jump overs, and then you need the same type of movement pattern for the deadlift, and then both of those take away from wall ball shots, which interferes with the ring dips. And like there was such great like back and forth interference.
Yeah.
Where there really wasn't one thing that was too much than the other.
And I loved what I liked different about this than like the 100 setup was because it was only 50, you would make the switch at 50. You weren't just slugging through it like you were on the 100s. The 100s were, all right, man, saddle up.
Yeah.
Because you're in it. Whereas this one, it's like, okay, a couple more. I'm halfway through. I'm almost done. It's only 25 more to go.
Right.
And so the race, it looked better just viewing wise because people were actually racing.
Right.
You'd see you'd see the bottlenecking and the story really start to unfold at the ring dips. Like that's where you would start to see where people will get lost in the 100s. You'd be, he's at 68, whatever the hell that means. It's like, I can't even tell what that looks like. But here it's like you get to that one piece and everyone can focus on that. And then it's like, okay, now again, they're able to race and you can see the race and visualize the race. And when you're in it, you can feel the race because you only have, like, if you get to 20 left, like it's only 20, like, and that doesn't take that long. So I love the way it was set up, even more than the other chippers that we've had. I think that I really like this one.
I think this up to this point, I really liked the double under handstand push-up overhead chipper.
Yeah.
But as far as this might be my favorite one so far.
I agree.
Balance, execution, visually, we'll touch on this in a bit, but I thought it was great. really great chipper. You got a lot of everything, but it wasn't like we've seen in the past. It was like, I do this that we haven't done.
We're gonna murder you. Here it is.
Kitchen sink chipper style.
Right, right.
All right, so we go from the just long, high volume, not high skill, save for the re-dips. So that was just strength. That wasn't it's not a high skill movement.
Right.
To event 7. And for the first time, we have a all go pedal to the floor, high intensity, show stopping finish. That when you read on paper, you're like, that's it. You're like, oh, wait. And we have 64 pull-ups, just chin over bar, 8 overhead squats at 205 and 135. And you couldn't have 2 different workouts to end the weekend. But as far as excitement and what we've seen since 11, 12, and 13, this is what really kicked off what would be a string of finales that were just like all go races towards the end.
And again, the pressure that is mounted on this very simple couplet, you really want to do, like, you only really want to have one break on those pull-ups. You're racing. It's fast. I mean, the little guys, the light guys, they are going to be motoring through that.
Yep.
But so if you're a bigger guy, you got to hold on for dear life to be able to get to the overhead squats to lock in. And depending how hard you went on those pull-ups, are you going to snatch the bar up for the overhead? Do you have the holding capacity and the grip capacity to be able to do that? Are you going to be able to support it after all of that pressing that you just did in the event before that to get it up overhead? And once you get it up overhead, are you going to rush right into it? Like that's what I see. I mean, like yes, there's obviously a lot of gymnastics here, but the mental test of this particular regional was not the case in any of the other ones. In any of the different cases, like you have to live and die by your strategy. Because if you mess up one time, you're off the board.
Yeah, you're right. The whole time.
High stress, man. High stress.
Except for event 3.
You miss
everything else.
Right. You mess up one overhead squat, you're done.
Done. It's over.
Done.
You take one extra break on the pull-ups, you've lost 15 seconds. That cannot be made up if the guy next to you holds on.
Minimum 15 seconds.
You're
right.
And
in 15 seconds on a pull-up, like that's 5-8 pull-ups right there.
Right.
But more than that, 10
to 12. Like,
yeah, that's a lot.
Cycle a chin over bar. You can cycle a pull-up a second.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy. 1, 2, 3. Easy. Maybe faster. And dude, you're right. It's so simple on paper. 64 and 8, you're like, okay, whatever. But like, no. The intricacies of this. It's event 7. It's not event 1. Think of all of what they've done up into this point. Think about what they just did. If it was what they just did alone, not to mention the 5 events previous to this, with everything on the line and no room for error.
None.
But
none.
Minds everywhere.
Dude.
Everywhere. And you had to be the best of both. Because the little dude could go 64 in a row and get buried with 205. 135, not so much. But still, not light.
Yeah.
For women, right? Or you could be the big guy and be like, I can't do this unbroken. I'm going to have to take like 2 or 3 breaks. But if I can just get to that bar, I'm going to eat that bar alive.
Yeah.
And you have the best CrossFitter there who's like, I can go unbroken, snatch that, walk across the finish line, wave to the fans. And that's what the test is supposed to be. And who knew you could do that with 64 pull-ups and 8 overhead squats?
I know.
It's just
and this is something that Dave has always been really good at doing. It's just out of the reach of what you can do. All the athletes that are there could do 50 pull-ups. All of them. All the athletes can snatch that, could get that up overhead and do 8 overhead squats.
Yeah,
but
easy.
Can you squeeze out another 14 pull-ups
right
at race speed and race intensity to quickly get the bar over your head, quickly drop down, and still being able to keep your midline stability to be able to hold that thing without getting the speed wobbles and drop it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you like in it?
It's so good.
It's so like this. I think. I mean, up to this point, I think is the best final because of all the things that are attached to it.
And that's you're right. And that's a great way to put it, because think of the crap we had in 2012. Right? This 3-rounder of this couplet and this 3-rounder of this couplet, and then you carry this and you do that, and then you come back and 3 muscle-ups, and like that was it. But like then you look at 64 pull-ups, 8 overhead squats, 205 and 135. And this was light years of a better test and finale than that hodgepodge kitchen sink
Totally
show.
Totally.
12 was.
I mean, they always say, the whole like simplicity, efficiency.
Yeah.
And this was definitely that. And I mean, it was literally, if you want to go to the games, ready, set, go.
Right.
Like there wasn't anything like technical. It was just like, you talking about who wants it?
Yeah.
Who wants it? Because here it is.
Yeah.
It's like, just go, ready, go.
And I get like Dave numbers like, okay, 8, it's the square root of 64 or whatever.
Right.
But 64, that's like
just
if it was
enough,
50,
man.
If it was 50, completely different event. Everyone's going unbroken.
Totally. And everyone knows that they can because they do that regularly. There are not many people that are going to go over 50 pull-ups in any training session for any reason.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I got 50 pull-ups. Because that was kind of the thing is like, can you do 50 unbroken pull-ups? Like, yeah, I got that.
Totally. Yeah.
64, like, I don't know if I had 14 more after that. That was really all I had.
Yeah, and I could do it. Now what? Yeah.
Overhead squats.
Right. I can do 64, but can I run to the bar right after? That I don't know.
Should I take a break or should I not? How many times should I break? Do I snatch it? No, I could clean and jerk overhead. Can I do 8 in a row? Like it was, what do I wear? Do I wear lifters?
Yeah.
Oh, it was,
They're too heavy for my pull-ups.
Yeah. And so that's it. 7 events. We've come to the end of the weekend. And I really like what you said earlier is that this was a very high stakes, high pressure, high elevated test of fitness, as well as test of really like gaming.
Yeah.
Not gaming. Gaming almost like takes it away from like your fitness level, but just strategy. And it was very, very sporty.
Yeah.
A very sporty test of fitness this year.
I mean, you could say every competition has high stakes because someone's going to make it in and someone's not going to make it in. There's always that. But I don't think that the fail rate, where you were talking about how important each rep was, because again, just like on this one, if you fail a rep,
ask Brent Fakowski.
Out of the race, you're out of the running, you're not going to the games. If you failed on the legless rope climb, you're out of that event. That just dropped you significantly down. If you were out on the handstand walks, i.e. Samantha Briggs, you're not going to the CrossFit games. Like what? I mean, it came down to single reps, single events like that. The stakes were high, and not just on the physical side, but on the mental side, because can you deal with the pressure of those high stakes as you're trying to compete and perform? And I don't think it would be very easy to say, like I said, in any competition you have that, but it wasn't the same. The weight wasn't the same. Sure, the results would be the same. Like you wouldn't go to the games or you would go to the game, but not down to one rep like that.
Yeah, right.
Where it was all weighted on one rep and the importance of that one rep or that one break or whatever. Dude, look at where even the ring dip failure, rope climbs failures, handstand push-ups failures, pull-ups or overhead squats failures. pistols,
missing a
no
squat.
reps.
Yep.
All of these things could drastically stop you in your pursuit to try to get to the CrossFit Games.
Just off the top of my head, as you're saying that, think of all the high level, especially at the time, big name games athletes that got failed out of this year's regionals.
Yeah.
Handstand walk, Sam Briggs, your 2013 CrossFit Games champion.
Yeah.
Falls on a handstand walk, done. I think the pistols buried Graham Holmberg.
Totally.
The event 4, the strict handstand push-ups, Nick Urankar comes off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Game athlete.
Yeah.
Event 5, Katrin Davis' daughter, Lindsay Valenzuela. Right? Lindsay Valenzuela just got second at the CrossFit Games. Second. Our podium didn't make the games this year because of this year's failure-like programming.
Yeah.
The ring dip crushed some people. So off the top of my head, I can't remember, but like the overhead squats, like that also spit out Sam Briggs, Brent Fakowski. Brent Fakowski was going to the CrossFit Games and then could not do his last overhead squat. Not the overhead squats, the 8th one. He failed like 3 times in a row, and he was crushing everyone.
He missed that year by a point, yeah?
Yeah.
That was one of those like missed it by a point deal.
How many podium athletes did we just name from the CrossFit Games that failed out?
Yeah.
Because of this year's programming. That's how intense this year was.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Except for event 3.
It's weird because I don't even see event 3. I really don't even see it.
All right. So end of the weekend, we look at the overall view of, we go through 7 events and we look at some of the modalities and loads and time and schemes. And this year was a very high number of gymnastics movements, and high skill too, right? Handstand walks, ring muscle ups, strict handstand push-ups, legless rope climbs, ring dips, and then we had burpees and pull-ups in there as well. We had nine different gymnastic movements. We only had 5 individual barbell movements. Hang squat, snatch heavy. Hang power clean, light for 10. Moderate. Front squats, moderate to heavy for 54 reps. Nothing in event 5. In event 6, deadlifts, lightweight for that volume, but it was 100 reps. Wall balls, lightweight, 100 reps. Overhead squats, it was only 8, but it was heavy. But we only had 5 different barbell movements. And then 2 monostructural. It's like, oh, it's heavy gymnastics. It's like there were more gymnastic movements, and this was, yes, a very, I would say, high volume, high intensity, or high skill gymnastic year. But look, hang squat snatch, right? From the hang to a full squat, 3 reps as heavy as you can. Hang power cleans, just above the knee, not off the floor, but above parallel. So 2 different movements, right? Front squats. Now you filled in the gaps, right? You got a heavy front rack, squats, high volume. Then you look at the deadlifts. Now we're just pulling off the floor for high volume. And then you got the wall balls, a full squat and a throw. And then you have the overhead squats, which is overhead for 8 reps, but heavy. We had multiple different barbell movements, but they were so balanced. And the weights were so good at filling in the void or to match, except for event 3, the difficulty of the gymnastics test that they were coupled with.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well balanced. We had 1 heavy day, 2 sub 5 minutes, 2 5 to 10, 1 11 to 20, 1 20 plus. We had 3 low rep, 2 high, moderate, 2 high, 2 single, 2 couplet, 2 triplet, 1 chipper. I mean, there is 4 push, 3 pull, 1 squat, 1 jump on gym. Like this year was very balanced.
Yeah.
There's still a gymnastic bias. There was more, but just like in 2012 and 2013, that was all heavy, right? That was heavier weights. It wasn't all biased to that, but there was a certain theme there, where it was one way. But yeah, that's just how it all shook out at the end of the weekend, as far as the numbers. But now it comes to what you thought of it, Bill. So our Element 26 thumb tape review. I guess it's me.
I was gonna say, was it me? I can't remember.
I think you went first last time.
Okay,
So I will go first this time. I think 2013. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I did. It doesn't matter. I'm focused on this year. I'm going to give this a 1 3/4 thumbs up. I thought great balance, good couplets between the barbell movements. There were more of an emphasis on high skill gymnastics, which isn't a negative. It's just a matter of fact. Some of the failure things, some people could complain, like event 2 is like, oh, well, that wasn't a fitness test. It's like, well, yes, it was. It's part of our 10 general physical skills as our definition of what fitness is. The only quarter that I leave off, because it's really hard to say something was perfect and dead on. Event 3, I think, was a misprogrammed event. But overall, I think it's one of the best chippers we've had. The final was super exciting and oddly balanced. Event 4 was just a good, just nasty test of fitness. I'd like to look back and the leaderboard. We can't find the leaderboard. That's why we can't.
No, they took them off. Bums me out.
And we'll try to find that. I'd be curious to see if what event really kind of like showcased or predicted what the top 3 would look like. But up to this point, I think this was their best one. From 11, 12, and 13, I'll give it 1 3/4.
I really like everything that you said there. It was fun to go back and look at this one again. Like for me personally, it was how good it actually was kind of hidden because, you know, I was dealing with my knee being all blown up and stuff like that. So I didn't really have the chance to go back and really look at it until recently. And regardless of the amount of complaining that everyone did about it's too gymnastic-y, I think one thing that's important is, yes, there are gymnastic movements in it, but it wasn't just when you think, I think generally speaking, when you think muscle or gymnastics, you're thinking muscle ups, like you're on a gymnastic type of equipment. And the movements that we were using, there were a lot of body weight movements for sure, like with the legless rope climb and the strict handstand push-ups. But they were different gymnastic movements, and I think than what the normal CrossFitter would consider doing gymnastics. You aren't up on a rig doing gymnastic-y things all the time. Right. The way that it was set up, the way it was set up, the way they put the events together, the way that the events were so heavily weighted on either making or breaking you as an athlete going in is something that we hadn't seen, not to this extent, not to this drastic setup. And it just raised the bar, huh?
I didn't even realize it was this much.
Me, I really didn't either.
Like make or break.
Yeah, I mean, this is by far the best region that they've had to this point, without a doubt. Oh yeah. I can very easily say that to match your 1 3/4. I mean, I would sound stupid to say, okay, I'll go 1 5/8 thumb. But I'll go the 1 3/4. Yeah. I'll go the 1 3/4 only because of the miss on the version 2 Nasty Girls. Not that the idea wasn't good, but just that the numbers weren't as right as the other ones. And like I said, this is the first region that I would have said, completely take this event out because you don't need it. I think that Nasty Girls version 2, if it was done a little bit better, would have been perfect. But even with that in there, I don't say that it was it didn't have a place. The other finals, I would have said, just take that fucking thing out. You don't even need that. Right. Here, but I think it fits. I don't think that we didn't kitchen sink anything. The hype was there, the skills were there, the weights were there. The standards, I think, were there. We were getting better at doing some of the standards and stuff and making some progress that way. So I 1 3/4, a strong 1 3/4, and a best region that has been put together up to this point by far. Yeah.
And people are like, oh, there's too many gymnastics. And they're like, if you just said, look, it's 9 versus 5 versus 2 on the monostructural, it's like, okay, let's take a step back. 3 of these gymnastics movements, box jumps, burpees, and chin over bar pull-ups.
Yeah.
Like, your most basic of gymnastics. So
I mean, they barely qualify in the gymnastics.
Barely had yeah, right? So now you're looking at more of like a 6-5. But if we want to, they're also paired with something that works well with them. 1 rep hang squat snatch for 3. If you miss, you're done. Coupled with a handstand walk distance. Those two, by the way they were scored and tested, parallel each other. Strict handstand push-ups, heavy, moderate heavy front squats at that volume were a very good complement to each other.
Yeah.
Wall ball shots with box jump overs, or light deadlifts with the ringless. Like there was a coupling, there was a balance there within the test. And then the pull-ups and the overhead squats, 64 versus, like, there's a balance there. Where there wasn't, okay, legless rope climbs, yeah, it had its own thing, but that wasn't just skill-based gymnastics, it was strength-based gymnastics. So it's still a little bit different than, say, something that someone is just good at because they're a gymnast. Right? Like, you got to be strong too. Couldn't fake a legless rope climb.
No. No one's going to say that Easy Muhammad is a gymnast.
Right, exactly, right? And the only event that didn't really have a good balance was event 3, but we've gone through that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where, we have a quarter off of, but this wasn't, kind of like what we said in the other 2 regions. Everyone who qualified didn't qualify because they were like the world's greatest gymnast.
Right.
Right? And so, yeah, some people missed because of the way these things are programming and scored, but they had every opportunity. Like, it wasn't because a skill is like, no, you had a hole. You had a major hole and you got exposed. Not, oh, you just didn't have this little thing. It's like, no, you can't do handstand walks. I'm sorry. I know you won the CrossFit Games, but you can't even do those. And your overhead squats crap.
Well, and if you go back to the 2010 games, Dave came up to Rich when he couldn't get up the rope. He's like, I can't put you on the podium if you can't get up the rope.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Came. If you watch the video, he comes over and he talks to him. He's like, he says, I can't crown you the fittest man if you can't if you can't climb a rope. Yeah. Like, how's that? You're winning, and that's what you get told.
In the middle of an event. Right?
After you just fell. Hey, man, my ankle's broken. I don't care.
Yeah. I just
don't get up there.
A chalk bucket with my back. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be one of the things you could easily devil's advocate this and say,
oh, for sure.
Like, well, you shouldn't have a competition that, like, if you accidentally trip, you're out. If you mess up on one thing, that you're out. The stakes are too high for what you're trying to do, because now Katrin Davis' daughter didn't get in there because of this, or Brent Fakowski didn't get in here because of this, and they are good enough. They should have been there. I will say this. One of the things, when you look at fitness and what we are trying to crown, there are some elements in there that are really difficult to test.
Yeah.
Like accuracy. And we talk accuracy usually like when you're shooting something, but accuracy is also being able to dial something in as you are making that target. Meaning, do you know exactly how far you're supposed to be pushing on your legless rope climbs? How soon do you get up there? When do you come down off the handstand push-up? Or when do you decide to take the break even though you're in a race? Because if I wait 10 more seconds, that will actually save me 40 seconds from if I just jump up, miss, have to rest from that one, and then decide to get up there and go again. Those elements that you can't, that we don't test on paper with a shooting range or a bow and arrow or a basketball that we're trying to shoot a hoop or something like that. That I think I see the accuracy coming in that element there. being able to utilize your body and hit the target physically rather than hit it literally.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
I like that. That makes sense.
cool.
And one circle back around is like, this isn't like Brooke Wells stepping on a line at the CrossFit Games.
No.
It's like, okay, Sam didn't make it because she could not do handstand walks, right? Katrin didn't make it because she couldn't do legless rope climbs. Like she didn't have the capacity for that high volume gymnastics. Same with Lindsay Valenzuela. Nick Urankar didn't make it because he focused too much on getting strong. And so he couldn't handle the capacity and the endurance of a strict handstand push-up event.
Yep.
And Fakowski didn't make it at the end because he wasn't strong enough to sustain that like none of them missed because of like unfair. Like they all missed because of things that were holes in their game, and they paid for it because of the programming that it was. This isn't like a scoring rule that screwed them out of it. There were major deficiencies in their game. And some
I mean, at this level, a deficiency is a major deficiency.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. True, but it is, right? That's it. That's what it is. I mean, and think about what this regional did, like made Sam better and turned her into the machine that she is now. Think of all the failure stories we have of this regional alone.
Totally.
Sam Briggs. Now she's just competed at the 2021 CrossFit Games still. Katrin David's daughter. Absolute devastation on the legless rope climbs, and Brent Fakowski.
Yeah.
Those three, what happened in this regionals, look what it did for them.
Huh? Yeah. Made them actual staples in the sport.
It forced them.
It forged them.
Yeah.
To fill those goals, to fill those holes.
I mean, think of the we just said this in there. The best athletes, the best, right, in the sport, forged themselves through failure.
Yeah.
Absolute ultimate failure. Tia Toomey, same thing.
Yeah.
You just happened to do it at the CrossFit Games twice, like Matt. Yeah. Now look at her.
Crazy.
It's real. What a year.
This was a good year.
This is good. That was fun. This was a fun year to broadcast.
The races were so good.
You guys just want to see one of the more exciting regionals ever from start to finish. Go watch the Central East region from 2014.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of pipe hitters swinging at each other. Rich Froning, Marcus Hendren, Graham Holmberg, Nick Urankar. This is when I'm blanking. Will Morad.
Oh, that's right.
Right? Will Morad.
Yeah.
Scott Panchik, Rich Froning. Like, if you guys want to see one of the more exciting regionals top to bottom since 2011 up until even now, go to YouTube and go find all those videos and just watch the men's race.
It's so
probably the most intense one I've seen in a long time. And you might hear some familiar voices on there. I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe. Well, that was fun. That was really fun.
That was a good year. Yeah, that was fun.
I like that. I hope you guys liked it too. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the 2014 regionals. Maybe you didn't even know about this. Maybe you guys are new to CrossFit. You're like, what's regionals? I'm like, I feel sorry for you. A little trip down memory lane of what regionals used to be like. That was super fun. Me and both gave it 1 3/4 thumbs up. Great programming, the best we've seen so far. A lot of classic moments, a lot of really like tide turning moments for a lot of athletes. Great events. Good times.
Oh, that was good.
Good times, bro.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for 2014. Up next, 2015. 2015. And you know what, Bill? I got some Programmatron episode ideas I'm going to send your way.
Okay.
Get one out there for our peeps over on Patreon who support us over there.
Yeah.
Little extra content. So
the Cool Kids Club.
Cool Kids Club. But we'll what was I had an idea of CrossFit's biggest competition controversies. I know there's a lot of C's.
Well, I mean, this got the handstand walk and this one right here. That was a huge one.
Deadlift, kettlebell swing. There's been some open things, CrossFit games.
Oh, are you talking? Oh, yeah. Are you talking a particular
Yeah.
qualifier or just overall?
From open to games.
Ooh.
Top 5 biggest CrossFit controversies.
Oh,
Games,
man.
CrossFit games, not like other bullshit. Top 5 games season controversies. Huh?
All right. I like that.
Open, regionals. I guess we could throw semifinals in there now. Ooh, I got one.
I got a handful.
I got one.
There was a lot.
I might not use this one. I may not. This is a team programming from a off-season event.
Ooh.
That we may be invited to coming up shortly.
I hope
Which
so.
we probably shouldn't throw that out there if we want to make sure we keep our invitation.
Let's do that. Let's
I like that. Okay.
Put on the hush.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Top 5 CrossFit Games season controversies. Okay. That'll be our newest Programmatron episode just for our supporters on Patreon. So for you guys, if you support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com, get with the programming, $6 a month, and you get that. You get that. You get free workout of the week. It's your week this week. I already have it ready to load up. We'll drop that tomorrow.
All right.
Video included. And yeah, that was good times, man.
That was good.
What a year. This has been fun. I haven't actually looked back at regional events once they've passed. I feel like we always look back at games events, but not regionals.
I think regionals, I think because we were involved in a lot of them, we just kind of naturally felt attached to them. So what's the reason to go back and analyze? I was in it. So I don't really think about it. But I mean, like I said, I didn't really realize how good this year was because I was thinking about my knee the whole time.
That's true.
Hobbling around on crutches.
I was doing team, so I wasn't even focused on individual events.
Yeah. Crazy.
And usually I feel like we finish regionals and we're already thinking of the CrossFit games. Like we don't look back. We're always looking forward to getting prepped for that.
Yeah.
So this has been fun. I can't wait for 15, 16, 17, 18. 4 more years of this.
Oh, man. So many good ones.
I love it. Well, I hope you guys love it too. When we look forward to giving our Programmatron episode a little bit later. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your week. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.